In the unpredictable and dramatic world of WWE, no one can ever truly know what will happen once the final bell rings. Some superstars leave the ring basking in glory, while others lose everything in the blink of an eye. Mistakes, backstage controversies, or even a single impulsive decision can shatter a career instantly. Today, we'll take a look back at 11 WWE wrestlers who were fired right after a match. Stories filled with shock, regret, and a touch of tragedy. Let's dive right in. Wrestling Sphere, go! Number 1. Marc Mero. When Marc Mero signed with WWE in 1996, many believed he was destined to become one of the company's brightest stars. With his muscular build, energetic in-ring style, and charismatic personality, Wildman Marc Mero immediately caught the audience's attention. But like a shooting star that fades too soon, his career began to lose direction after only a few years. WWE had high hopes that Mero would be the face of a new generation, but as the Wildman persona started to lose its spark, he reinvented himself as Marvelous Marc Mero, a cool, confident character inspired by old-school boxers. Despite his efforts, fans still couldn't connect with him, especially during an era dominated by larger-than-life superstars like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. Another major factor that shifted the spotlight away from him was Sable, his real-life wife and on-screen partner. Within a short time, she became one of WWE's most popular female figures, while Marc Mero slowly faded into the background of the very storylines he was part of. The spotlight had clearly moved on from the Wildman. As their real-life relationship grew strained, WWE's interest in pushing Mero dwindled. He was placed in the 1998 Brawl for All tournament, a brutal contest where the fights were legitimate, which was a clear sign that the company no longer had real plans for him. His final match took place at Capital Carnage in England in December 1998. Shortly after, WWE quietly released him, even though his contract technically ran through 1999. Marc Mero's departure wasn't dramatic or controversial. It was simply the quiet end of a dream that never fully came to life in the world of professional wrestling. Number 2. Bob Orton. In the brutal world of WWE, where bone-crushing impacts are part of everyday life, there's one line the company can never afford to cross: the safety of its wrestlers. Yet, at the end of 2005, that line was dangerously blurred, and the one who paid the price was none other than a legend from a previous generation, Cowboy Bob Orton. At the time, WWE was in the peak of the ruthless aggression era, highlighted by one of its most intense rivalries, The Undertaker versus Randy Orton. Their feud spanned months and reached its climax at Armageddon 2005, inside the infamous Hell in a Cell. Bob Orton, Randy's father, was brought back to the company to support his son's storyline, and his presence added an emotional layer to the already fierce battle. But behind that gripping performance, a silent disaster was waiting to unfold. During the match, Bob Orton bled heavily, and his blood came into contact with others in the ring. Afterward, WWE discovered that Orton had tested positive for hepatitis C, a blood-borne disease he had carried since his youth. What made the situation worse was that, according to backstage reports, Orton knew about his condition but failed to fully disclose it to management. Some even claimed that John Laurinaitis, the head of talent relations at the time, was aware of the truth but chose to ignore it. When The Undertaker found out, he was reportedly furious. Although subsequent tests confirmed that he was not infected, allowing such a dangerous incident to happen inside the ring was deemed completely unacceptable. Shortly after the event, Bob Orton was released from WWE. The incident faded quietly from public attention, but its consequences lingered for years. Many believed it derailed plans to push Randy Orton back into the world title picture, as the company wanted to avoid any controversy tied to the Orton family name. One careless mistake, and it was enough to end Cowboy Bob Orton's return to WWE forever. Number 3. Eugene. When WWE decided to bring Eugene back in 2009, it was a move that surprised many fans. The character had once been beloved in the early 2000s for his innocence, goofiness, and ability to add humor during one of WWE's most intense eras. However, by the time WWE entered the PG era, where every storyline and character was heavily monitored, reviving a sensitive gimmick like Eugene's was a risky gamble. Nick Dinsmore, the man behind the Eugene persona, returned with a simple storyline: competing in a contract on a pole match for a chance to earn a new WWE contract. His opponent was a newcomer named the Calgary Kid, who was later revealed to be The Miz under a mask. Although Dinsmore tried to recapture the charm and energy that once made him popular, he lost the match, and, unexpectedly, it became his final appearance in WWE. Just a few days later, WWE officially released Dinsmore. Backstage reports suggested that Vince McMahon was unhappy with his physical condition, particularly his noticeable weight gain upon returning. Even Randy Orton, who had been close friends with Dinsmore, didn't hold back his disappointment during a 2009 interview. He came back after years away, but showed up heavier than the company expected. "Nick's my friend, and I was honestly disappointed to see him return like that." Orton's blunt comments reflected WWE's new reality. The company no longer had room for comedic or out-of-shape performers. The era of Eugene, a once beloved but outdated character, ended after just one match. It was a swift and quiet conclusion for a man who once made millions laugh through tears. Number 4. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy was once viewed as one of WWE's most promising rising stars. With his booming voice, magnetic personality, and unmatched mic skills, he seemed destined for World Championship gold. Yet, a string of injuries kept him sidelined, derailing WWE's major plans for his future. In 2009, Kennedy finally returned to Raw after a long absence. It was supposed to be his comeback moment, but instead, it marked the end of his WWE career. During the match, Kennedy executed a back suplex on Randy Orton, but the move went wrong, causing Orton to land awkwardly. Furious, Orton accused Kennedy of being unsafe in the ring and immediately complained to management, saying he never wanted to work with him again. Kennedy defended himself in an interview with ESPN Radio, claiming Orton had jumped too hard and that he was only trying to protect his opponent. "In wrestling, it's all about timing. I either let him fall on his head or help him land safely." His neck didn't even touch the mat, yet he still went to the trainer's room to get his neck wrapped. Orton fired back online with a sharp response. "For his wife's sake, I hope Kennedy finds another line of work soon. Good luck, he's going to need it." John Cena, another top star at the time, reportedly shared Orton's frustrations. With two of WWE's biggest names turning against him, Vince McMahon had little choice but to release Kennedy shortly after the match. From being touted as the future of WWE to an unceremonious exit over one botched move and a few ill-timed words, Mr. Kennedy's fall from grace was as sudden as it was painful. Number 5. Brad Maddox. In 2015, WWE witnessed one of its most surprising and controversial firings. Brad Maddox was released over a single comment. At that time, WWE was strictly enforcing its PG image, meaning every line spoken on TV or at live events was carefully monitored. But one impulsive moment from Maddox ended up costing him his entire career. During a dark match, a non-televised bout, against R-Truth, Maddox, known for his sarcastic improvisational style, offhandedly called the Indianapolis crowd cocky pricks. To most people, it was just a throwaway insult meant to get a reaction. But to Vince McMahon, who fiercely protected WWE's family-friendly reputation, that choice of words crossed the line. Just hours after the match, Maddox was officially fired. Speaking on the Two-Man Power Trip podcast, Maddox recalled the incident with lingering frustration. "I got fired for calling the crowd pricks. For Vince, that word went too far. I didn't think it was a big deal. I just wanted to get the audience riled up. That night, they told me to go home. The next day, I got the call that I was released. Vince didn't talk to me or give me a chance to explain. Talent relations just informed me I was done." The situation sparked a divided reaction among fans. Some believed WWE overreacted since the line wasn't broadcast and caused no real harm. Others argued Maddox should have known better, as anyone working under the PG policy understood there were boundaries that couldn't be crossed. One careless remark was all it took for Brad Maddox to lose his chance to make a mark in WWE. A harsh reminder that in the wrestling world, words can sometimes be more dangerous than any move inside the ring. Number 6. Kurt Angle. Unlike most names on this list, Kurt Angle wasn't fired, he asked to leave. What makes his story stand out is the reason behind it. His departure wasn't driven by impulse, but by pain, exhaustion, and a deep mental struggle after years of balancing fame and pressure at the highest level. In 2006, after a grueling match with Sabu on the ECW brand, Angle met with Vince McMahon face-to-face in a state of complete burnout. The conversation grew tense, and Angle bluntly requested to be released from his contract. Despite being one of WWE's top stars, Vince agreed, realizing that continuing under those conditions might destroy Kurt completely. McMahon later issued an official statement. "It's unfortunate that Kurt has to leave, and even more unfortunate for WWE fans. He's a true professional, a phenomenal athlete, the only Olympic gold medalist in WWE history. Losing Kurt is a huge blow, but given the circumstances, he needed, and deserved, to be let go." Looking back, Angle admitted that during that period, he was consumed by injuries and painkiller dependency. On his own podcast, he reflected, "I was in terrible shape. My neck, shoulder, abs, groin, everything was torn or damaged. I was taking more and more meds just to handle the pain until I completely lost control. I'd get angry, call Vince while high, and say things I shouldn't have. It was the lowest point of my life." Leaving WWE turned out to be more than just a career move, it likely saved his life. Years later, Angle acknowledged that walking away was the smartest decision he ever made. Had he stayed, that Olympic gold medal might have become nothing more than a tragic reminder of what he'd lost. Number 7. The Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior has always been one of the most controversial figures in WWE history. Powerful, explosive, and wildly unpredictable. His career was filled with legendary moments, but it was also marked by intense clashes with Vince McMahon. One of those confrontations led to his sudden firing right after a major match. In the summer of 1991, just weeks before SummerSlam, Warrior sent a direct letter to McMahon demanding an additional $550,000 bonus and threatening not to appear at the event unless his demands were met. The move shocked everyone, as Warrior was one of WWE's top stars and a key attraction for the show's promotion. If he pulled out, WWE would suffer major financial and reputational damage. With no other choice, McMahon reluctantly agreed. Canceling Warrior would have caused SummerSlam to collapse entirely. Warrior was allowed to perform at the 1991 event, teaming with Hulk Hogan to face Sergeant Slaughter and Colonel Mustafa. But the moment he walked backstage after the match, McMahon was waiting for him, with termination papers in hand. The Ultimate Warrior was fired on the spot. In his official response letter, McMahon wrote, "You left me with no alternative. Your actions were a betrayal, to me, to WWE, and to all of our fans." The incident caused Warrior to disappear from WWE for years, severely tarnishing his reputation. Yet, true to his larger-than-life persona, the Ultimate Warrior eventually returned to the company, as if that stormy chapter had never happened. His story remains one of the clearest examples of how fame can lift you to greatness, but ego can bring you crashing down overnight. Number 8. Brian Clark. In 2001, WWE was expanding rapidly and searching for new faces to revitalize its tag team division. When the company signed Chronic, the powerhouse duo of Brian Clark and Bryan Adams, expectations were high. Both had impressive physiques, a hard-hitting style, and years of WCW experience. Vince McMahon believed they could become a dominant new force in WWE. Their big opportunity came at Unforgiven 2001, where Chronic faced none other than The Undertaker and Kane, the legendary Brothers of Destruction. It was a massive debut match, one that could have instantly elevated them to the top of the division. But things didn't go as planned. The bout quickly turned into a disaster. Their timing was off, their movements were slow, and miscommunications kept piling up. The crowd grew restless, and even The Undertaker, known for his professionalism, was visibly frustrated during the match. When it was over, Taker and Kane won easily, while Chronic was harshly criticized for not being up to WWE standards. Following the event, WWE asked both Clark and Adams to report to the training facility to work on their in-ring performance. However, Brian Clark refused outright, insisting that after years in WCW, he didn't need more training. That decision cost him his job. He was released immediately. WWE rarely moved that swiftly with disciplinary action, but after such a disastrous showing at Unforgiven, the message was clear. In this business, one bad performance can end your career if you don't meet expectations. Unfortunately for Brian Clark, he became the perfect example of that harsh reality. Number 9. Buff Bagwell. When Buff Bagwell joined WWE in 2001, many believed he would become one of the brightest stars to emerge from the ashes of WCW. With his chiseled physique, confident swagger, and undeniable charisma, Bagwell seemed to have all the tools to succeed. Yet, everything came crashing down after just one single match. His debut took place under unique circumstances. A special edition of Monday Night Raw presented as a WCW Nitro show, where Bagwell faced Booker T in the main event. WWE intended this to be a grand introduction, symbolizing a new era after acquiring WCW. However, instead of being spectacular, the match turned into a complete disaster. The two had no chemistry, their moves looked disjointed, the crowd sat in silence, and the atmosphere inside the arena felt eerily cold. The commentators tried to salvage the broadcast with praise, but everyone watching knew the match had completely failed. Once the show ended, both audience and backstage reactions were overwhelmingly negative. Vince McMahon quickly realized that Bagwell wasn't just struggling in the ring. He was also causing issues behind the scenes, frequently complaining, displaying an unprofessional attitude, and being difficult to work with. Just a few days later, WWE released Bagwell, ending one of the shortest runs in company history. Meanwhile, Booker T, the man who faced him that night, went on to prove his worth. He earned Vince's trust, entered major rivalries with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and became one of WWE's most respected veterans for years to come. For Buff Bagwell, it was a painful downfall and a stark reminder that in WWE, one bad performance and the wrong attitude can end your career before it even begins. Number 10. Braun Strowman. During the COVID-19 pandemic, when WWE shows were held without live audiences, it was hard to create truly memorable matches. Yet at Backlash 2021, three powerhouses, Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre, delivered a spectacular triple threat for the WWE Championship. It was a hard-hitting, high-energy clash where Strowman looked the best he had since becoming Universal Champion. That's why fans were stunned when, just weeks later, WWE announced Braun Strowman's release. A main event star, heavily featured and promoted, suddenly gone without warning. The company cited budget cuts as the reason, but what shocked many was Strowman's salary. He was among the highest-paid wrestlers in WWE, right behind Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. His release exposed a harsh truth. Even top-tier stars weren't immune to corporate decisions. Strowman quietly stepped away, taking time to focus on himself and appearing in a few independent wrestling projects. Then, in 2022, fate turned in his favor. When Triple H took over WWE's creative direction, the monster among men was brought back. His return was nothing short of dominant, roaring onto the scene with his trademark power and destructive presence. That comeback wasn't just WWE correcting a mistake, it was proof of Strowman's undeniable value and enduring appeal. He may have been released after one major match, but within a year, he proved that true monsters don't disappear, they only rest before rising again. Number 11. Jeff Hardy. In 2021, the wrestling world practically exploded when WWE officially announced the release of Jeff Hardy, one of the most beloved and iconic performers in its history. The decision stunned fans and even shocked many of his colleagues, as it came just hours after a live event match. During that match, Jeff teamed up with Drew McIntyre and Xavier Woods to take on the Bloodline. But midway through, Hardy suddenly walked out of the ring, stepped over the barricade, and disappeared into the crowd, leaving everyone confused. WWE immediately launched an internal review and later requested that he attend rehab. When Jeff refused, the company had no choice but to terminate his contract. According to internal sources, management felt compelled to act, given Hardy's well-documented history with substance issues and fears that the situation might repeat itself. As wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer noted, WWE didn't want to lose Jeff, but when he turned down medical assistance, they couldn't ignore it. They knew AEW would likely sign him right away, but it was a risk they had to take. Jeff later opened up about the incident in an interview with Chris Van Vliet, revealing that he had been battling deep personal struggles at the time. His father was gravely ill, his mental health was collapsing, and he was trying to hold everything together while feeling completely drained. Jeff admitted that alcohol became his escape from pain, but it also cost him everything he loved. After leaving WWE, Hardy joined AEW and later moved to TNA. Although a potential WWE return remains uncertain, it's clear that the rift between both sides will take time to heal. Jeff Hardy may have walked out of that ring that night, but to fans, he'll forever remain the charismatic enigma, a free spirit who refuses to be broken. And that wraps up our list of 11 WWE wrestlers who were fired right after a match. Shocking moments that shook the entire wrestling world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wrestling Sphere for more incredible stories.